From deep in the heart of Dallas, Texas, it's the Best of the Outdoors podcast. Brought to you by Texas Fish and Game Magazine, the voice of the Texas Outdoor Nation. I'm your humble host, Dustin Von Warnke, back with you, Texas Outdoor Nation folks, for another podcast, and I'm so excited to have the opportunity to bring this to you, whether you are streaming this online or whether you are downloading this to your mobile device, however you're listening. Thank you so much for doing so. You know I love all of you guys, every single one of you that listens. I really appreciate you guys. Please spread the word, subscribe, tell a friend. If you're listening on YouTube, leave a review. If you're listening on Spotify or iHeartRadio or Stitcher or iTunes, please leave a review that way too. That would help us spread the word of the Texas Outdoor Nation and get out the word even more on our podcast show. So anyway, really looking forward to this episode. This is another one live from the NRA show. It's Saturday night when I'm recording this, and I just recorded 2 interviews today, one kind of a long one and one kind of a short one to bring to you in an episode straight here from the NRA show floor, and I'm back at my hotel room right now recording this, but the actual recordings that I got are actually from the NRA show floor and press room, and so I've kind of got a live on location feel today, which is kind of cool, instead of just listening to me talk about all kinds of the different companies that I encountered. So I also wanted to mention, before I get into everything, one company that I forgot to mention last week, and that's last episode, and that's Silencer Shop. They were there. They had tons of different suppressors. They're one of our big supporters online for digital, especially for newsletter, banner ads, and the podcast, actually sponsoring the podcast, and I'm just really excited to have them on board. They had a fantastic booth, bigger and better than last year. I mean, just huge, and great place to get your truss, great place to get your silencers through to your Class 3 paperwork, all that other stuff. They simplify. They're fantastic, and I'll be plugging them again in a future podcast since they're going to sponsor a future podcast, and I'm really excited about that. So anyway, moving right along, I've got first interview today with Jay Duncan from Crossman Airguns, and we did this podcast kind of as an impromptu thing. We just kind of planned it a little bit in advance, and I think you really like what we have to share with you. This is really cool about Texas and air guns and what's legal now, or what's going to be legal later this year in September when the state's fiscal year flips over. We're gonna have big bore air guns legal for harvesting deer and obviously wild hogs and exotics and everything like that. But you can harvest native game now. The laws have changed to allow air bows and big bore guns, 30 caliber and up, to harvest native game. So I'm really excited about that. So here's my interview with Mr. Jay Duncan. I want to thank him again for having the opportunity to sit with me and chat for a little bit about air guns in Texas and all of the Crossman lineup of air guns. So this will be a fun one. Here we go. Mr. Jay Duncan, welcome to the Best of the Outdoors podcast, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me, Dustin. It's a real pleasure to be here, man, spending some time with you and your listeners.
Oh, thanks so much. Let's talk real quick about the Texas air gun laws, which changed this year, will go into effect in September.
That's right.
I know Crossman's been part of that legislation, or is part of that push for that legislation, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So, as you mentioned, Texas Wildlife and Parks Division recently changed the regulation to allow the take of big game with big bore air guns. That starts on September 1st of 2018. So the upcoming change to the next set of regulations will include big bore air guns. Crossman had been lobbying for this for a long time and finally got the commission to heed our advocacy for air guns as ethical take of game, and we've got the law changed. And as you know, man, air guns are very effective tools for taking small game and large game. So,
right.
A lot of fun.
The other thing that changed, and this I think just went into effect, is the Pioneer Airbow.
Yes.
That's the other thing that passed as well, right?
Correct.
Being
so the
legal.
way that the regulatory change is written is that it doesn't matter if the projectile is a bullet or an arrow.
Okay.
So it's a 330 caliber or larger projectile. That projectile could be a crossbow bolt or propelled by air. So
I see.
So it's but it does encompass the airbow. Yep.
So it covers the airbow
along
with it. That's
yes,
really
sir.
cool.
Yep.
What's new in big bore for you guys this year?
So we haven't come out with any new big bore air guns, and it's kind of been a strategic play for Crossman.
Sure.
Crossman had the Benjamin Rogue a few years ago.
Yes, I remember
we
that
discontinued the Rogue and we came out with the Bulldog. The big bore air gun market, we're trying to really understand how much appetite there is for consumers in big bore air guns, but it was kind of a two-step play for us. First thing we wanted to do is have more advocacy and allowances for big bore air guns for hunting, right? Because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to go out and build all this new product to go target shoot, right?
Sure.
Big bore air guns are for shooting game,
right?
And so we wanted to be able to provide the opportunity for hunters to do that before we design the product, right?
That's cool.
So we wouldn't design cars if there was no roads to drive on, right?
That's a good point.
So we spent our time on advocacy and lobbying for air gun allowances. So.
Well, thank you for that, by the way, on behalf of all Texans that can hunt with air guns now.
Yeah,
thank
absolutely.
you. That's really good. And what we've always been able to do is hogs, obviously, and exotics, which we have a whole plethora of in the state of Texas, as you know. And the nice thing about that is it proved to the Texas Parks and Wildlife, Commission on this deal that if you can kill a red stag with it, you should be able to kill a white-tailed deer without a problem.
Absolutely, yeah. And we all know hogs are really tough animals, right?
Yes.
And compared to some deer, it's
so
kind
the
of.
red stag was a bad example, Jay. Okay,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I'm just messing with you. No, that's good. As far as the big bore that you guys have, the Bulldog, talk a little bit about the caliber and that kind of stuff.
All right, so the Bulldog is a .357 caliber air gun. It's a PCP air gun, and what PCP means for your listeners that may not be real familiar with PCP is pre-charged pneumatic is what that means, right? And so what that means is that the gun has a tank built into the design, right? So you fill the gun with 3,000 psi of air, and then that allows you to shoot that gun 7 to 10 times, and then you fill it up again, right? And you fill it up with either a scuba tank or a portable buddy bottle is what we call it, which
or
is
a
kind
carbon
of
fiber kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know the buddy. Yeah,
they're about a quarter of the size of a full-size scuba tank. And then last year at SHOT Show, we introduced a new product called the Benjamin Traveler, right?
Really?
Yeah, what the Traveler is, it is a portable high-pressure air compressor, right? So it retails for $650.
Right.
You can plug it into your car battery, you can plug it into your wall, and this allows you to fill your gun on the go, right? So that's always been a big barrier for entry to PCP air guns is guys, I don't want to buy a scuba tank or I don't have a place to fill it.
Right.
Now you can buy this compressor and you've got all the ability to fill your gun. So backing up to real quick, I want to touch on you mentioned what the Bulldog is. I want to kind of talk about what the air bow is also.
Yeah. I talked about that on last night's podcast.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to get your take on it.
Okay,
too.
so an air bow is a pneumatic arrow gun. It's probably the best way to describe it, right? So the Bulldog and the air bow look very similar.
Yes, they do. I've noticed
they
that.
They share the same platform.
Right.
It's just instead of propelling a .357 projectile down a barrel, you propel a full-length archery arrow.
That slides on
on top of a, I don't know what you call it.
I don't know what you call it either.
Okay,
a guide rod, if you will, or something
it's
like
a
that.
rod. It's a hollow rod.
Okay.
And then the rod, pull the trigger, compressed air goes through the hollow rod, propels the arrow downrange.
And the cool thing about that is that you actually get, and I've heard this presentation many times as it's come out, you actually get the full push of the arrow as it's going out, and that's why you get to 450 feet per second, which is absolutely amazing, faster than any crossbow I know of.
Yeah, absolutely. You're exactly right. You get the full engagement across that rod, which is incredible, man. I mean, 450 feet per second. There's a lot of crossbow manufacturers really pushing the envelope as to what's possible, but there's nothing at 450
I don't
yet,
think so.
right?
I don't think the Scorpion's the closest one, and I think it's like 430. Right. So that's a reverse.
It's absolutely hull and butt.
Yeah, that's awesome, and so that's
which
great.
translates into energy.
Right, energy.
That's the play.
Distance.
Yep.
Right. Accuracy as far as at longer, less drop at longer yardages. Right. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So that's great. And then the Bulldog itself is chambered in what calibers for?
Only 357.
357. Okay, cool. I remember the Rogue at one time was chambered in 357 too, right?
Correct.
When y'all had that. See, I keep up with your stuff.
There you go. I appreciate it, man.
That's great. But what else is interesting between all the
So
companies?
something on the fun side of air guns, right? So we've talked about the serious hunting tools, right?
Right.
So now let's touch on the fun stuff, right? Because hunting and shooting is supposed to be fun. So Crossman holds the licensing for the Remington family of brands, right? Which includes DPMS. DPMS is a modern sporting rifle manufacturer. We've come out with a full auto BB gun branded under DPMS. It's called the DPMS SBR.
Trying not to show my excitement over here.
Yeah,
today.
man, it brings out the inner 12-year-old.
Yeah,
in everybody.
exactly, in everybody. Yeah.
It's just so much fun, man. Anytime you can say full auto BB gun, like I just get warm inside, and it's just so cool. So what it is it looks like a modern sporting rifle SBR.
Right.
It's got like about a 10.5-inch barrel on it. It's got a collapsible buttstock.
And SBR stands for short-barreled rifle, right? I just want to clear that up.
Yeah. So if you're into modern sporting rifles, short-barrel rifles, anything less than 14 and a half inches. But so this, because it's not a firearm, it's not regulated under the NFA. Right? So we can have full auto, and we can have it as short as you want it, right? So just a lot of fun, man. It's powered by CO2.
Yeah.
It has, it's magazine fed. BBs load into the magazine, CO2 loads into the magazine. So we're working on packages of guns where you could buy the gun and 2 or 3 magazines. Because the great thing about it is, here's how you justify this purchase to your wife, right? Because this is going to be tough, right?
I'm listening.
You can tell her it's a training tool, right? Honey, you know how expensive it is to shoot ammunition out of my AR-15.
Right.
I'm gonna buy this thing as my training tool, right? That's the way you justify
I love it.
So the DPMS SBR uses, like I said, those magazines that the ergonomics of this gun are nearly exact to an AR-15, right? So the bolt catch is in the right place, the magazine release is in the right place, the charging handle operates like a normal AR-15 charging handle. A lot of fun, gives you the same muscle memory of a regular AR-15, but at the cost of shooting, BBs.
Yeah, pennies per shot compared to, what it
tenths
costs
of
you.
pennies and
Tenths
BBs.
of pennies. I didn't know a better way to say that, but you just said it better. Tenths of pennies. That's good.
So that's what we've got coming down the pipe on the fun side. We talked about the Bulldog. We talked about the Traveler. We just talked about the DPMS SBR. We've got a new line of break barrel air guns. So for your listeners that aren't that familiar, there's a couple different types of air guns. We talked about PCP, we talked about CO2, which maybe most people are familiar with.
Sure.
But a break barrel air gun, it has a piston inside, and basically you break the action of the gun to charge the compressed air to propel the projectile. So we've got a new line, or kind of refreshing our line of break barrel air guns. We came out with some technology a couple of years ago called SBD. Which is silence barrel design.
I thought it was silence but deadly.
Yeah, that's what your wife calls you when you pass gas, is SBD, right? But so the SBD is silence barrel design, and it's basically an integral or a built-in suppressor on the barrel, so it makes these air guns super, super quiet. And so we got the vaporizer coming out, the iron hide, the shockwave. These are just really cool, fun break barrel air guns, and you're looking at price points between $120 and $200.
Wow.
And you're looking at we do them in 177 caliber and 22.
22, okay.
Yep.
Which are two very easy to find ammunition.
You can
Not
walk
ammunition,
into,
but
you can walk into any Walmart or Bass Pro Shops or Cabela's or name your favorite retailer, and you can go find Crossman pellets at it.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I've got some Crossman BBs at my house, as a matter of fact, that are Crossman brand.
It's one of the things that Crossman does exceptionally well is we make our pellet and BBs very, very affordable, and we have excellent distribution, so you can find them just about anywhere. I mean, everywhere from a Tractor Supply store to, you could probably find them in some bigger convenience stores, right?
Yeah.
So it's huge distribution of our ammunition.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, so that's a lot of fun. So break barrels guns. We talked about the other stuff already, so a lot of new stuff coming, so it's exciting.
Good deal. Well, thanks a lot for joining me, and I really appreciate it. And I know you are headed out, but this has been a great show, don't you think?
Absolutely. I agree.
So
Texas,
busy.
Yeah, Texas seems to be a great state for hosting the NRA. There's a lot of like-minded people here in the state of Texas that that love and are passionate about their Second Amendment rights.
I'd like to say we're fiercely independent.
There you go.
Does that?
Yeah, I can dig.
You're from
that.
Georgia, right?
I am. Yeah.
Okay. So it's just one of those things where I kind of think that we don't consider ourselves our own state. We're like our own nation.
Yeah.
Here, So that's why I call this podcast part of the Voice of the Texas Outdoor Nation. So anyway,
I love it.
This is great. But thanks so much again for joining us.
No problem. I really enjoyed it, and have fun and be safe.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And there he goes, Mr. J. Duncan from Crossman Corporation. Fantastic line of air guns. Benjamin Marauder is one of the first air guns I ever owned. And that's a fantastic air gun for, it's 25 caliber, this particular one is. And I've owned it for many years, love shooting it. Let my dad shoot it to squirrels and that kind of stuff in his property in Oklahoma with that gun. And he just has a blast with it too. So can't say enough about great air guns from Crossman. As Jay mentioned, there's a lot of different things that are changing in the world of air guns. We wonder why air guns are such a popular topic at fishgame.com, and I think the best reason is because it's new and it's emerging and it's something that you don't see everywhere and see all the time. And I'm really excited about having a relationship with Crossman in the future and hopefully bringing more air gun content to you about educating you and inspiring you to go out and have the best of the outdoors with air guns. Man, I love air guns. So it's definitely a variation to shooting without powder, powder burners as we call them in air gun speak. But there's just fantastic stuff going on there. So that's great. Want to switch gears here real quick for the next podcast that I recorded, and that is with Mike Mooty and Tina Jones, fantastic friends of mine. They've been dear friends of mine for years now. And we do a little bit more of an extended podcast recording on this particular subject because we're talking about getting started in firearms. And, I've talked about that in the CZ USA podcast we did not long ago, last week, as a matter of fact, compared to when this is running, with my talks with Dustin Ellerman. But basically, getting women involved in the shooting sports for self-defense, for target practice, for all kinds of different things like that is something I'm really passionate about. And I think, having the information that Tina gives and might give on shooting and hunting and just getting started with things like that are just fantastic ideas. They're great ideas to share it with the people in your life that may not understand firearms. We talk a little bit about politics. We talk a little bit about some of the stuff around the NRA and the NRA show, but kind of trends and stuff like that too. So this is a good show. I think you're really going to enjoy this. So this is Mike Mooty and Tina Jones from the Dallas, Texas area, and dear friends of mine that I sat down with here at the NRA show in the press room. Hope you enjoy it. Mike Mooty, Tina Jones, welcome to the Best of the Outdoors podcast. How are y'all doing?
Great. Thank you very much for having us.
So we're in Dallas, Texas for this weekend, and you guys, it's a little noisy here because we're in kind of a meeting room, but you guys are experiencing the show in Dallas for the first time in a while. Tell me your thoughts on everything.
Well, first we're at the NRA annual meeting here in Dallas, and having a great time and seeing all the stuff and meeting new people. And
this is my first NRA convention.
Oh, wow.
And yes, I've done a few others, but this is my first NRA convention, and I think it's great. I haven't seen the whole thing yet, so we still got a little bit of space to go. A few, more square feet to cover.
15 acres.
yeah,
It's a lot to cover in 3 days.
Yes, and I've only got about 1.5 days to experience it.
That's right. What are some of the themes that you guys see at this show as far as trends and that kind of stuff in the industry?
One thing that I am seeing is a lot of the, of course, the newer firearms that are coming out,
Right.
and sights, and a lot of safety, different types of safety, and women in the industry,
Sure.
and weapons firearms that are made for women.
Sure.
And it seems to be that's the trend is the manufacturers are focusing finally on women and
Yes.
women with firearms and being interested in it as a sport
Right.
and as a safety measure.
Sure.
and the manufacturers are now taking it serious. They're not just taking a full-size gun that was normally for men and just making it pink and maybe
Right.
scaling down in size a little bit. Now they're actually designing guns for women.
For a woman's hand, for a woman's
Right.
body, so on and so forth. Okay, that's good. That's exciting to see. Tina, one of your specialties that you've gotten into, and I've helped encourage you through the journey of
Yes,
becoming
you
a ride to carry instructor. Is that the way I say
Yes.
it? Okay, very good. Tell us a little bit about that and what your goal is with that thing.
My goal actually is to have women that are either afraid of guns, afraid of owning a gun or firing them, but yet they want to.
Sure.
And helping them succeed in their goals. And there are some great programs out there, especially one that the NRA, the Winchester NRA Marksmanship Program,
Right.
is usually what I like to start with because it starts from the very, very basics
Okay.
and the fundamentals and safety and takes them right up through their first shooting adventure and so on, and also in their purchasing of their first firearm,
Right.
and so that they learn exactly what they like,
Right.
what they need, and what fits for them.
What they need to look for, in other words, you guide them in evaluating those things. In other words, right?
Right,
Okay.
and from semi-auto to revolver to what caliber and what they actually want a firearm for. Do they want it
Sure.
for protection in the home, to carry, all those things.
Okay, that's good. And what is your slogan that you use on your business card? You can tell us. I don't want to butcher it. So
Fun, not fear.
fun, not fear.
Fun, not fear.
On the way here, I was thinking, what a great message to have of hope and inspiration. And what I talk about with the outdoor lifestyle is teaching women and teaching kids. And we talked about this with the CZ podcast that I did a couple of shows ago. Easy, scalable wins with shooting.
Absolutely.
Is so important for kids. It's so important for women that are just starting out, for sure.
Right. And the safety measures. And women, even if they don't necessarily want to shoot, they still should know the safety of it. And
Sure.
that's one thing that I speak to church groups about, especially when they have boys. They come home from school, they all drop their backpacks in the hallway or something. You could easily come across maybe a gun, a firearm, something that one of the kids is carrying with them. You need to know that if it is
Right.
entering your home, and it's always safe for you to know how to disarm that
Sure.
firearm and what to do, and not panic, not freak out, but
Right.
you might want to alert the parent as well. And there's the
Well, knowledge is everything. So even
Knowledge is power, right?
That's
I know
right.
it's a little bit of
That's
cliche,
right.
but there you
So
go.
even because I talk to a lot of, especially new moms. Oh, no guns in the house, no guns in the house. I
Right.
said, well, I respect that, but if you don't know anything about guns, how are you going to teach your kids,
Right.
about gun safety or anything? So you
This-
need to know the basics, at least the gun safety and
right,
how
which
to
that used to be me. That
Right.
used to be me. I've only been shooting and been around firearms for the past 4 years myself.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yes.
And you've come a long way, Tina.
I've come a very long way. I used to believe that if you had a gun in the house, then the ammunition should be in the garage or completely separate.
Right.
Right.
Like they do
Where
on
it would do you
military
no
bases.
good.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Yeah,
Exactly. So
that's
yes,
right.
I've come a long way.
Oh, that's great. So you're an NRA certified pistol instructor,
Yes.
Texas DPS certified CHL LTC licensed to carry instructor, refused to be a victim certified instructor,
Yes.
and an NRA certified range safety officer. Is that
Yes.
all right? Okay,
Yes.
I'm looking at your business card here.
Yes.
So that's pretty impressive, Tina.
Well,
Tina's Gun Academy.
Tina's Gun Academy.
It
right, of
started
course.
with one thing, and I joined a women's shooting league, and they took me through this the NRA's marksmanship program from the very beginning.
Wow.
I went through all that myself, and I tell you, I got the fever, and
Yeah.
I learned how much fun it was, and
Yeah.
it is so much fun, especially shooting with other women.
Yes.
And then we have a jacket that we wear that we put our pins and
Sure.
badges and different
Yeah.
things on,
Patches and
and
everything, right.
that's how I started actually teaching. Was I would be approached by women in the grocery store, Walmart, or wherever I was, and
Right.
two different types of women would be approaching me. It would either be fellow competitors or shooters,
Sure.
asking me, what ranges that I shoot
Yeah,
at, and
sure.
we're always sharing information on what is the best range and what range has different things to shoot at and competitions. And then there would also be women that you could tell they were looking for help. Maybe they were afraid, they were in a bad relationship, or they just wanted to learn. So
That's great.
Yes, it's and it's empowering to be able to help these women as well.
Just gonna say is empowering for
Yes.
women. I was just about to say that, and you just boom, awesome. We think so alike on some of this stuff.
Don't we though?
You know, it's just interesting to see, and this is obviously a right forum to talk about this, the way that the media, and I'm not going to make any political statements, but the way that the media kind of, makes guns look evil of any kind. Every time you see a silhouette of a gun in a news report, it's an AK-47. It's a menacing gun, and it's not about. We hardly hear about the lives that guns save versus the lives that guns take. And so I think this is a great, place you can meet like-minded people here at the NRA convention, but it's one of those things that I think that more education empowers more people with the truth, if you will.
Absolutely, and anyone who is considering carrying a firearm or owning a firearm absolutely needs the training to go with it.
Yes.
And that's one thing that I push very much in my LTC classes and women that I shoot with at any time is that you've got to always train, go to the firing range, stay familiar with that gun because you need to always be comfortable.
Right.
If you're going to carry, you need to be comfortable
with
if
your
you
weapon.
have to use that weapon.
Right.
And you also need to know the law, and you need to understand force versus deadly force.
Well, one other program that I think is really beneficial to everybody, men and women, but especially women, is the Refuse to Be a Victim class that she teaches. That's another NRA class.
Oh, cool.
And
That doesn't push the use of firearms. It's just safety everywhere, situational awareness.
Situational awareness. Okay, cool.
Yes,
and
yes.
just things how to keep you safe in your home, when you're out and about, if you're
In your car.
in the theater, in car, wherever you are.
Yes,
And
that's
just,
a very, very good program that really hasn't gotten a lot of traction, at least for me. And I usually teach that class for free. My church, different churches, because it is so very, very important, and it hits right at the heart for me because it gives so much information. There is more information just in their guidebook that you get in the class, the student handbook, than I can possibly cover in the 3-hour class.
And even men that have come with their wives or girlfriends or something that may have some training, military training or backgrounds or something.
Right.
They even walk away with, wow, I didn't really think
I learned
about that.
something
I
new.
learned something. So everybody, no matter where your level is, as far as skill and stuff, they still learn.
Okay.
And it's not always something like major, so like little things that you think, I didn't think about that. Wow, that was pretty cool.
And
So,
a lot of the home safety measures are things that women can do themselves. I go to Home Depot, I purchase lighting and locks and different things, and that's one of the things that I teach women. There's a lot of moms that are single moms, and there's simple things that they didn't think about, the windows and doors and lighting.
Sure. So the main goal there is situational awareness and prevention. Is that right?
Absolutely.
So you don't have to use deadly force.
Absolutely.
Stay ahead of the threat.
Right.
Do not be a victim of opportunity.
Don't let exactly. That's it.
Right.
That's a perfect way to put it. Yeah.
So,
that's good.
And we've kind of found that the Refuse to Be a Victim, even though it's not a firearm class, firearms usually get brought up by one of the people in the skill, but it's also kind of a bridge or stepping stone gateway to firearms.
Okay.
Because it piques the interest in women.
Because not everyone wants a firearm, and not everyone needs to have a firearm. We all know people that we know that they really shouldn't have one.
Yes.
But they need to be aware of
especially
everything
the women
else.
that are afraid. They're not really, they think they're afraid of what firearms or guns, but they're just, the fear is the unknown.
Right.
It's because my specialty is taking women that are just petrified of firearms.
Right.
And in about 30 minutes, I can have them like, you can just see the light go off, and you're like, wow.
We had
And
we had one girl at the range that literally was standing in the bay, holding a gun, pointing at the target. She was there to learn, with tears streaming down her face.
She was scared.
Yes,
Yeah,
she was
sure.
terrified, but she knew she needed to learn how to use this
yeah.
firearm.
And I spent about 10, 15 minutes with her, and then she did, she improved, but then she was there the next week, 100% different than the way she was.
He gave her a few
before.
tips and things for her to do at home.
And so
that's fantastic.
And this is one of my pet peeves, and you see it on YouTube and internet and different places.
Sure.
I have one of these of my own.
I'm listening.
Boyfriends, husbands, whatever. They take their girlfriends, and put like a Magnum in their hands or something overpowered.
40
and
caliber.
It scares them. It knocks them back. And they just shuts them down too.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm afraid. And that just does such an injustice to the firearm industry.
Sure.
And we start everybody out with 22s.
Yeah.
And usually with a 22 rifle because there's like zero recoil.
Right.
And then they go, So once they understand that it's not going to turn around and get them, bite them, or whatever, do them harm, then they get beyond that first little step of fear and think, hey, I can do this.
Right.
And then once they start, I've been teaching women how to shoot for over 40 years.
And you give them a target, and they can
They've
not only hit the paper, but hit the bullseye with a 22
Wow.
that doesn't frighten them when
Sure.
it goes off. It makes such a difference, and then
sure.
they get the fever too usually.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and like you said, the empowerment it gives them. Because now, she's 5'2", 3", 100, 110 pounds, little petite little woman.
Yeah.
Just knowing
And
that
now-
they can is the empowerment.
Now they're not afraid to walk around, and once they train and get the their weapon and stuff, they're empowered. It makes them equal.
Right. Whether it be self-defense or, John Wick with a
confidence.
pencil, or
Sure.
being able to carry a firearm of any caliber.
Right.
It is empowering, and that's the goal.
No, I'm with you. Because I remember the first time I shot a pistol, and I was like, "My goodness, this thing's gonna explode in my hand." I mean, you don't know what to think of it sometimes. But I mean, I had great coaches, great teachers that were around me, and like you guys are. And what's your pet peeve, Tina? Or did you already say it?
Well, my pet peeve is women that come to me that are afraid because someone put too large of a
Right.
caliber gun in their hand.
So y'all both have the same pet peeve.
Well, it actually happened to Tina.
It happened to me, so
Really?
that's why. Yes, I went to learn. I went and found an instructor at a local gun range,
Right.
famous or well known,
Yeah.
and they put a large caliber gun in my hand.
Scared you to
and
death.
45 AC.
Oh, wow. That's a
Scared,
heck of a gun.
and I was with a girlfriend. Fortunately, we were recording it because it was our first experience, and it really wasn't funny. And my girlfriend, I've gotten her to the range with me once since. She doesn't want to have anything to do with any of it
that.
again.
Oh, my God.
I was determined because
Right.
I have a real hard time quitting anything.
Yeah.
So I was determined, and then I went and I found an excellent instructor who made it so much fun. I forgot that my whole purpose was to get my license to carry.
Right.
And that's what I want to do for other women. I want them to get that same feeling of empowerment, and that they're in control of their own safety.
In fact, she's got a pretty good story. She started out with the mindset, you only need one gun, and like I said, just for protection, just to have it at home.
Right.
And
Just one
then-
gun.
So just one gun, that's all anybody ever needs. In fact,
right.
nobody needs one of those ugly
Yes.
black guns.
Yes, I actually said that no one needs one of those big black AK-looking
Evil
things.
assault rifles. Yeah.
That's
oh my
right.
gosh.
That's right. I've got
Yeah,
one now. I'm
that's-
looking for my second.
There you go.
But I got her to go to a clinic that the Divas put on, DivaWow.org.
DivaWow.org.
And so they go and sign up for all these different things. It's one Saturday in March, and one weekday, and they can shoot. It's all 22s or shotguns. They've
Sure.
got pistols, rifles, AR-22s.
Right.
And so I donate the ghost targets for that. And so Tina went, and her favorite thing to shoot out of the whole day was the 22 AR.
Yes, which
And
I
it that one day changed her whole perspective, and that's what led her to the path of where she's at now.
Right. Which
From
are
that
cheap
one
to
day.
shoot, I mean,
Well, I mean, not just that, but I
22.
mean that whole
The
experience.
experience was beneficial.
right
Okay.
when
Yeah.
I had the opinion when I walked in.
We don't need those
we
disgusting
don't need
black
those.
rifles.
Nobody need those. Exactly. So that's why when I hear people say things like that,
It's just misinformation. I mean, it's
Exactly.
just errors in judgment. I mean, it's
Yes.
just you don't know what you don't know. You
right?
know, I mean,
and that's true. And I didn't, and now I understand.
Right.
And most of the people that have
Heck of a lot of fun.
that mindset or that attitude, have either never been around firearms, never had one, never shot one. So, if you've never had a car, you could, and you always rode a bicycle, then, why do we need those polluting cars and killing people and this and that? It's the same thing. Once they experience it, then they understand.
Right.
It's not about, this is just a death machine. This is something that's, fun to shoot. It's fun to have. It's fun to hunt with.
Especially women, and with everything that's going on today and the school shootings and that sort of thing. And it's not really the guns. It's a learning process and understanding that knowledge is power.
Is power, yeah. No, I agree with that. And that's the thing that the media does, especially with with the recent things with the mass shooters. It's so much more a problem than just guns.
Right.
I mean, and that's the thing that I try not to get political on the show, and I said that 2 episodes ago. And NRA is definitely a political organization, but it's one of those things where if you look at the real problem, it begins and stems from not necessarily guns being the problem, but family and other issues.
Right.
Like,
so many other issues.
So many other issues. And so, I mean, I try my best to educate, which most of the people that listen to the show we're on the same page together. But it's one of those things where I try to bring forward the the common knowledge that guns do not just go randomly around shooting people. It's a person that pulls that trigger.
Exactly.
But again, the media makes it sound like all guns are evil and you should never shoot one, and that draws more people away from the sport.
Well,
right,
and
exactly.
Yesterday I listened to the president speak here at the convention,
right,
and he brought up the fact if we're going to ban guns because they kill people, then or used in mass shootings or used in terrorist type of situations, then we're going to have to ban cars and vans and
they cause death
trucks.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right, I mean, they're renting them and going out and mowing down
knives.
people.
Right.
So I mean, evil's going to find a way.
Right.
We can't legislate evil.
That's where I'm going with this. Is evil will always find a way.
Always find a way.
And again, look how well it's working in England and in Australia and places like that.
And, I mean, they're macheting and stabbing people in London. So but back to Tina's Gun Academy, we do more than just take women that beginners. So if you're a beginner and you're afraid of guns, Tina can help you. All the way up to if you want to be competitive shooting.
Sure,
that's right.
John McNally's on staff.
Yep,
he's a
McNally Triggers.
He's a McNally Triggers. He's a 5-time Olympian in pistol shooting. He's an ex-Army Ranger.
Right.
He can teach you, how to do competitive shooting or, be a gunslinger, type of thing.
Cool.
Fast draw and, and shoot. And so,
because a lot of the girlfriends now were into shooting steel and metal, things that go ping.
Yeah.
And so now we've started
and shoot fast.
And we started attending different matches, and so John is helping to educate some of the girls to be bigger, better, faster, and draw from the holster.
Some of the competitive stuff.
Exactly,
so
and we're competing with the big boys.
Right.
Exactly. When women are competing with the big boys, we have to really step up, and we actually do. We shoot like a girl, and we're proud of it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's
Woman
right.
power. And you're one of the few women that I've had on the podcast, and I need to change that because y'all bring such a fresh air to the table. Such a breath of fresh air of guns are for everyone. I mean, almost everyone. But I mean, guns aren't anything to be feared, and there's a lot of fun you can have.
Right, absolutely. It's just learning,
right,
and
just education,
knowing the basics and the fundamentals, and that's why I say we're very grateful for the NRA. I would not be where I am today without the NRA's programs, and especially that marksmanship program with the basics and fundamentals of shooting and safety and all of the things that they offer.
That's awesome.
It's an excellent program, and I can't say enough about it. It has taught me so much, and that's what we teach others also, and it just gives the basics. And within 6 weeks, which is usually what our leagues, we do 6 weeks at a time, then we're off for 2 and 6 weeks on. And within 6 weeks, we have got the girls ramped up to where they're very comfortable and ready to decide which gun they want to purchase, or they have already. So
Well, and then we also make it fun.
Sure.
But I mean, firearms are serious, and you got to take them, respect them, and have all the gun
absolutely,
safety.
there's no whoops in
Yeah.
gun safety.
But
Right.
but then
Yes.
Good one.
you can still have fun doing it. We do bonus targets like the ghost targets or balloons
every
or
week, yes.
fun stuff like gallery type shooting. And,
Right.
So I think that's one thing that the industry is kind of lacking is we've got away from just shooting for fun.
Yeah, we talked about that off
yeah.
microphone yesterday, and one of your inventions is ghost targets, which are the best way I can explain them is they're little bitty marshmallow-sized clay pigeons. Is that close?
Yeah, they're like clay pigeons for pistols.
For pistols and rifles.
That's right. And when I put those up for the league, for the girls to shoot, I make that one of the challenges.
Yes.
Tell you what, their eyes light up and they are so excited to
sure.
get to shoot those. And some of the girls that they can't hit the dot on a target that will get them an extra 20 points, they can hit that little marshmallow at 15 feet out.
Right, and it just goes. It basically just
exactly,
explodes.
and it explodes with this white ghost.
That's why we call it a
and-
ghost target.
Exactly.
Fantastic
and they are
name,
so
Michael.
excited.
I was at one of the clinics that I was talking about earlier, and on the rifle, 22 rifles, and it's about 10, 15 yards away.
Okay.
And so they shoot at a paper target, and then I have ghost targets up there also. So after they kind of get zeroed in with the on paper, then the instructor has them go shoot the ghost targets. So this one girl was shooting a 10-22, and they get like 20 rounds to shoot. The first 10 rounds, she couldn't hit hardly anything on paper. And so Marietta, the instructor, said, try those little white things up there. And she went 9 out of 10.
Oh my goodness!
and so I've got a shirt with the logo
Baseball
on it. And so the girl came in a baseball cap, and the girl came up to me and said, started talking to me about those, and said, why could I hit those and I couldn't do the paper?
Right.
And I said, well, because there's really a science behind it. If you have a piece of paper where you hit, see where your rounds are.
It's static. Right.
It's static, but you see the rounds hit it. Subconsciously, your brain, even if you don't hit the bullseye, if you get anywhere on paper, your brain says hit.
Yep.
So you don't concentrate near as much.
On that focal point.
On that focal point.
Right.
So my targets are independent. They hang by themselves. So basically, you're taking the bullseye out and putting it out by itself.
Right. Independently.
And so so automatically, you have to focus and concentrate more because that's all there is.
And if you think you're a good shot, you got
Right.
another thing coming to you. That'll school you.
But then, when you do hit one, it's visual and it's instant. So you see it, and
Right.
so the endorphins
You see
release
it.
in your brain, and now your brain works for you. It says, "Ooh, let's chase that fun
Let's do
feeling
another
again.
one, yeah.
Let's do another one." And so they really concentrate, and so that's the science behind ghost targets. It doesn't make you a better shot, but better marksman. But most people think it's just fun to shoot. They don't understand the science part or even know about it.
That makes a lot of sense. I've never had you explain that to me before, so
Yeah.
that's really cool.
And I've seen it in action, literally,
Right.
with
So
the
if you-
girls at league.
If a gun is zeroed in, then you go from paper or whatever, something big, to just one of my targets. You will most of the time hit the target, after the first 2 or 3 tries, and then you get really focused and boom, boom, boom. And
Sure.
So
Right. And I've even seen a couple of girls that they barely hit the paper, but I put a string of ghost targets out there and pow. And they would
they
hit
can
that
knock them
ghost
down.
target.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just a different mindset versus a paper stationary target versus something that's hanging there that you shoot. And
well, back in the Civil War, they didn't have optics. They had a brass tube
Right.
on top of a rifle. They didn't have any glass in it. It's just basically a long tube.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're looking, it's like tunnel vision. So they'd still be more accurate than just open sights.
Sure.
So ghost target's kind of the same way. You get tunnel vision down for this one little target and concentrate. And
You
so,
focus on that.
and then it's reward. As soon as you hit it, boom, reward.
yeah, your reward is that it
Yeah.
dissipates. Yeah.
And then they realized that they
Yeah,
were
they're hooping
focusing
and
on
hollering.
so much on that, and then they realized how much fun it was, and
They're
fear
hooked.
is gone. Fear is
That's
gone,
great.
and they're like, oh, that didn't hurt me or anyone else. And that was fun. So that's the goal. That is the goal.
So yesterday, Mike tells me a story of how you got hooked on shooting with grasshoppers and the blades of grass.
On hunting.
On hunting. I'm sorry, hunting. Forgive
Yes.
me, not just shooting.
That's
hunting.
right. I still like shooting paper. I really did not care to be a hunter.
But back in those days when those evil black guns, that mindset,
Yeah.
same thing. I'm not hunting. I'm not going to go hunting.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
So-
That's right. I think I was in a little bit of a cranky mood one afternoon, and he had disappeared. So I went looking for him, and he was outside the house, and he had this little rifle, and kind of doing the Chuck Connors thing.
Yep.
And
Number action, yeah.
yes, and so I go out, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm shooting my BB gun." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what a child!" And then I watched him fire off a few more BBs, and I'm like, let me see that. So I did, and then he said, there's a few grasshoppers around over here on the Johnson grass. So I walked around to the front, and I'm like, huh. And I don't really like grasshoppers or crawly
turns
bugs
out.
that get on there. They get on you in my hair, and they stay.
I'm with you.
So, yeah, so I shot a few grasshoppers with the BB gun, and by the time I got around to the side of the house, I was definitely hooked on that. And
Wow.
I said,
So
oh
that
my
was a Sunday
goodness.
afternoon. She
I
goes,
said, what is this? He said, it's the Daisy Red Ryder from the movie that you love.
Wow.
I said, oh my goodness. I said, they must be expensive. He said, no, I think they're at Walmart for about $20. I'm like, no way. I got to go to Walmart. I
So
got to
we-
get me one of these.
We had to go right then.
That's
so she,
right. That's
So
right.
she went to Walmart, $24.95.
Yes.
She bought 6,000 rounds, built,
Yeah.
saw this stuff, came back,
Yes.
and she just wore out grasshoppers and cans filled with water.
And now that's
Yeah.
my, if I've had a bad day or
It's your
something,
release.
it's my release. Exactly.
But that was about 3 years ago.
I can put in my headphones, walk around the house, and
Blink, blink, blink.
Yes.
But,
and
so she went from
even
she learned
leaves,
how to
whatever
hunt
it
grasshoppers,
is. Yes.
stalk them, you sneak up on them,
Yep.
and,
Learn to be quiet, step carefully.
and find them, spot them. So fast forward to last Thanksgiving, a good friend of mine said, wanted to take us hunting,
Fast forward
Sure.
2 years.
and so yes,
Not long.
So anyway, we went out to the lease, and he kind of took her under his wing and took her out. And first, she's got a shotgun, so we went turkey hunting, and
Yes.
the
I
first
didn't
one,
think I could do it.
she, shot a turkey. Feathers flew, but he got away. He ran down in a creek or something and got away. So then the next day, she shoots at another turkey with a rifle.
Right.
Blows it was walking, and shot a little bit high and hit him right across the back. Just kind of creased it, but feathers flew. There's about 3-4 inches of feathers before you get under the meat. And so he got away, and then shot at a hog and wasn't loaded. Anyway, mishap. So the next morning, David says, okay, I'm going to take you out and we're going to go deer hunting.
Before the sun came up, it was so early. Oh,
sure.
my God. And freezing cold.
Uh-huh.
But I was a good girl. I got up there in that blind, and I was quiet.
Sure.
I had the rifle, and it was ready, and it was just David and I that were sitting in the blind, and I'm watching the sun come up, sitting there thinking, wow, this is absolutely gorgeous. It was so quiet.
Right.
And then I was looking through the scope, and it was just beautiful along the horizon, and then I saw several deer walk up and over in a little bit of a clearing and in the the woods, I guess. And then there were several more, and I'm looking through the scope, and I thought, oh my goodness, I could actually get a deer.
Uh-huh.
And David the whole time was whispering in my ear, telling me, wait, there's another one. And I knew that there was a particular buck that he was looking for.
Sure.
So I was afraid that was going to come up, and I wouldn't know. Anyway, a doe came up, and I knew that was what I'd been training for, and I knew that I could do it. And I said, can I? And he was like, whenever you're ready, girl, do it. But then a larger doe came up, and I'm like, that's it. And I just knew it. I knew that was for me, and I knew it, and I did exactly the way that they told me, and
Right.
I fired.
Before she fired, David told her, wait till it comes around, because some other does were in front of her.
Right.
And so it got into clear shots, broadside where she could shoot it. And he said, okay, when I tell you to shoot, he told her where to shoot it on the shoulder and everything.
Sure.
He said, when I tell you to shoot, you shoot.
Right.
And so she's ready, and so he goes, shoot, and she just boom, didn't hesitate, nothing.
I didn't. And he was even more excited than I was. He was shaking. He was so excited.
Wow.
You got it. You got it. You got it. And I said, I've already had 2 turkeys and a hog get away from me. I will believe it when I see it.
Right. I want to see the animal on the
So
ground.
I was not going to let myself get excited. And he was over there just having a conniption. And I thought, you're keep making all this noise, you're going to scare the buck away if he does show up. So then we had to sit there and wait. But his buck did not come, and finally he couldn't stand it anymore. And so he said, "Come on, let's go get your
Had to get out of the blind.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we went, and I was very excited. That was a huge milestone for me.
And they dropped me off in another blind before they went to theirs, and so I'd shot a doe, and so Tina comes up, and they come back to get me, and to get whatever I shot, and they go back and get hers. Right. So as soon as they pull up, Tina, sees my doe laying there, she goes, "Mine's bigger."
That's right. That's right.
That's great.
Yes, I knew that. So now I'm ready for you, Dustin, to take me fishing.
Oh yeah, I can do that.
Yes,
I think that'll
absolutely.
work. That'll be fun. So yeah, that'll be a good time. So what, saltwater, freshwater? What's your preference on that?
I would really like to do some saltwater.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't get to the coast that often, but I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to.
I've seen your
give you
videos,
props and thank you for all the work you do with kids.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Because we were talking the other day when I was down in Austin getting another certification, and you were telling me about some of the programs that you do.
Right.
And it is just so impressive, the things that
Thank
you
you.
do.
And I've got some more hooks to give to the kids.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I use those. Yeah, that's great. And that's just, I appreciate y'all's support over the years. I mean, I can't thank you both enough, and I've wanted to have both of y'all on this show for a while, and this is just a perfect opportunity because I'm in your home court here.
Yes.
So,
yes, you came up to our neighborhood.
That's
for a
right.
change.
That's right. About a 3-hour drive from the south to me, but coming up north and seeing you guys has just been great. So this has been a fantastic opportunity.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
that's
And
great.
congratulations on your podcast and
Yeah, thank you.
success.
Yeah, no, I'm
awesome.
excited. Do y'all have anything else to say in closing? Y'all were fantastic guests, by the way.
Fun, not fear.
That's
Don't
right.
be
Fun, not
afraid.
fear, right.
Don't be afraid to, try something. Give me a call. Surely there's a friend or a girlfriend that you have that
Sure.
does shoot, or, look me up.
I'll put your info in the show notes, how do people can find you on social media,
Great.
Tina, and then basically a little bit about both of y'all and how you can find you on social media, because I think it'd be great for some of our listeners to have the chance to get out and experience that. You're in North Texas here, right, for the most part, the DFW
right.
area? Okay,
Dallas,
cool.
Rockwall.
Okay, cool.
All
One other
parts.
thing that I do want to say is,
Sure.
this is for the dads, because I've had a lot of women tell me this. When they were kids, I had brothers. The dad wouldn't take them
Right.
hunting and fishing. They'd take the brothers and make the girls stay at home.
Right, yes.
That's just totally wrong.
Yeah.
If you have a daughter, you should take them, and let them experience the outdoors just like your sons.
Yep.
And because the women I talked to really resented it.
Yeah.
And so.
And now they're single moms that need to take their sons
Right.
out fishing, and they don't know how.
Right.
So.
Which is something I'm huge, as you both know, about getting kids in the outdoors, getting kids involved. I mean,
That's right.
y'all both, give me support every time I try to make that message about, hey, you're doing good, and we're proud of you, and that makes me even more, excited to do that kind of stuff.
Well, it's our future.
It's a good, yeah.
Exactly.
future.
It's also the example you set,
Right.
and that's what I've always been about. I've never been about, look at me, I'm a great dad because I'm taking my kid out to shoot a crossbow or go hunting or whatever. It's always been about setting that example for other dads to do likewise with their
Right.
kids.
Step
You're never
up
too busy.
and-
Well, and it's so beneficial for the kids.
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
you
Get
just
them out
can't
of
even
the house.
Yeah.
And kids are like little sponges. They're
Sure.
just, you take them out in the woods, whether you're hunting or not, if you just take them out hiking.
Right.
And show them things, like that's poison ivy or that's cactus or
Right.
don't step on those loose rocks.
Sure.
It teaches them how
Simple
to be
things.
situational awareness starts, basically from
Goes
playing-
right back to that.
Goes right back
yeah.
to that.
Right.
Absolutely.
And,
Can't stress it
you know,
enough.
and
Pay
they-
attention.
And if they learn that activity, it'll keep them out of trouble,
Right.
because, they love doing it. And so they should spend more time and I think they should have, like soccer moms. They should have like outdoor moms,
Right.
and have that activity.
Yeah.
And really, because I can take any kid in the world, any like inner city kid, take them out in the woods, take them fishing, and they all want to do it. But then after I've taught them and I hand them back to their parents, if the parents don't follow up, basically it works in the opposite, because now the kid resents something because he can't go do it, and he gets a bad feeling, So,
Yes.
we need a follow-up program with parents.
So not only learn, but teach your children as well.
Sure.
And it's a great time for parent-kid activity, where you're doing stuff together.
Right.
That would just spend time with your own kid.
Right.
Yes.
And so...
Right, so we love watching you and listening to you.
Thank you.
So we want to help.
It's encouraging, because it teaches families,
Great family
women
time.
and dads, to also teach their children.
Yeah. Teach your children well, as the song goes.
Absolutely. Those are the ones that are going to be helping us and taking care of us.
Right.
In our
Down the
old
line.
age.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yes, we want to teach them well.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's for sure. So, well, thank you guys so much for being a part of this.
Well, thank you for having
You
us.
guys were great guests, like I said, and just thanks so much. And I will again put your information in the show notes so we can, so other people can reach out to you and get to know you guys.
TinasGunAcademy.com.
Okay, cool, good deal. I'll definitely put that in the show notes too. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Dustin.
Thank you.
And there they go. I will put all the information in the show notes for Tina Jones and for Mike Mooty. This is just fantastic. The stuff that they're able to do with the Tina's Gun Academy, I should say, and the different things and certifications that she has now to be able to teach. And just remember, a few years ago, she was afraid to touch a gun, and now she's teaching other women and empowering people, women and men both, to be safe and be responsible and be good shots, and situational awareness and avoiding the wrong situations and all kinds of different things like that. So my hat's off to both of these guys for the work that they do, and really just great to call them friends. I mean, they're just fantastic folks. So anyway, check out Tina's Gun Academy if you are in the Dallas area or North Texas area and want to check out some stuff. I wanted to definitely have them on the show. I could not make this trip to Dallas without having them on the show, because they're just an integral part of my life. They're very great supporters of mine, and I've been supporters of theirs, and it all works out really nice. So the firearms industry is awesome. Things are bouncing back from what they called the Trump slump years ago that we talked about at SHOT Show during the SHOT Show podcast. And if you want to listen to some good conversations between Chester Moore and I on conservation and hunting and that kind of stuff, go back and listen to those 5 podcasts or so that I did with Chester and Dustin Ellerman and Chester Moore back during the SHOT Show stuff a few months ago. So that was a lot of fun doing that on location, just like I'm on location here. Also, please be sure to download our podcast, download our newsletters to your email box. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I forgot to mention this the first time I did the NRA podcast, the first show that I did. Also, make sure we're having a photo contest at fishgame.com. You can go to the photo contest tab and go through and submit your photos. We have some awesome prizes for the winners of that particular photo contest, and the way that you win is the amount of likes that you get on your particular photo. So if you want to submit those, check that out to fishgame.com. Check out fishgame.com to see more details on that, and you can check that out. Also, make sure, again, subscribe to our email newsletter. We do 3 a week, and they're fantastic. And if you're just now hearing this, I want to make sure you know that we have those newsletters, and they're fantastic to read. It's kind of like getting a mini magazine 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So anyway, thank you guys so much again for telling a friend. Thank you so much for downloading. Thank you so much for your support over the years. Have an awesome day in the outdoors. We'll see you next time.